Welcome to the Tenaciously Resolute podcast. Welcome to the Tenaciously Resolute podcast. Hi, and welcome back to the Tenaciously Resolute podcast. It's been a while and I have missed you guys. However, we are back and we're back to stay, and we will be live each and every Friday from today going forward. So stay tuned to our TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram pages, hashtag 10Reso or the Tenaciously Resolute podcast to see each interview every week. Today we have on the podcast my good friend, my lovely, ambitious, talented friend and neighbor. I could call her neighbor. We grew up in the same village, Miss Keifa Vignes, owner of Divine Solace Funeral Home. Hi Keifa, and welcome to the podcast.
Long time. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So today I called you and I asked you to come to the podcast so we could have some interesting conversations. And we'd like to talk about business and exploring unorthodox passions, right? But we'll also be talking about work-life balance and friendships, and how we manage those dynamics, especially when life is always changing, you're growing, there's new and upcoming things that you may want to do. So things must be a little bit dynamic on your end. So let's chat about navigating business, right? So, Divine Solace Funeral Home. You just celebrated an anniversary.
Yes.
Tell us all about it. How you decided to just jump into a funeral home? What was behind that?
Oh boy. I can remember Carrie's from probably the age of about 12, 13. My mom would say, Keifa, let's get into something. Let's do something. And I said, Mommy, the only thing that I can see that has a longevity is a business surrounding birth or a business surrounding death. I said, and back then, the credit card and the Shein and the Fashion Nova and the Amazon thing wasn't as popular. And I told her, I said, Mommy, the way things going, soon persons would be ordering everything. Yeah. So I said, the only other thing that if we can build as a legacy for ourselves is probably a funeral home. No, the usual taboo. She said, no.
Of course.
I do not want to be around that kind of business.
Yeah.
So it was shelved for a few years. And during COVID, we decided, you know what? She came again. She said, let's start something. I said, Mom, let's probably try some caskets. The same funeral home idea. But she didn't want to go full in. So I said, all right, let's do some caskets or so on. Because the style of caskets that you would see on television or on Facebook in movies are way different from what we have here.
Locally, yeah.
So we imported 20 caskets, and probably over a year, none was sold.
So Keifa, you just had 20 caskets in a house somewhere for a year.
Yes.
That is insane.
So we are watching our investment sitting there, and mommy say, well, my mom always taught me to be patient. Yeah. She said she always said once you have life, things would come. So as much as the investment was sitting there, it was like, all right, one day something would happen. We just have to wrap our heads around it and get it done. And faithfully, I was training for the national team, rugby, Trinidad Tobago national senior women team, and I was going to Trinidad. And the boat that we got onto, I was separated from my friends, so I asked them, I said, can I go on the other side with my friend? And they said, no, rough seas, you have to stay here.
Where you are.
So I was very, very disappointed because who I would chit-chat with for that long ride, right? And I sat next to a couple. We didn't exchange any words, so the entirety of the ride. But then the boat ran into some difficulty docking in Trinidad. And then we started to converse. And he asked, what do you do for a living? And I told him. And he said, well, I have a funeral home. I said, really, which one? And he mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, yes, I sent an email to you around by purchasing some caskets. How much? She was like, girl, I tell you the honest truth, them ain't gonna sell no. The price you're selling them for, we're getting it way cheaper in Trinidad.
Wow.
He said, but I always wanted to bring a branch to Tobago. Open a funeral home now. I'll come and train you. And from
just
there,
like that?
Just like that. Faith.
Girl, what type of faith you have? Was it prayer? Because that is some really unorthodox moves,
Yes.
to just be sitting one seat over to the person that would train you into getting fully into it and not just selling caskets.
Yes.
That is almost unbelievable.
Imagine that small disappointment of not sitting next to your friend or your teammate on the boat turning into this for today, just 2.5 years later. But prior to meeting him, when we had the casket, my mom, she had a vision. She says it's a vision. She wasn't sleeping or anything. Something just came to her and said, open a funeral home. So it's almost as though the opportunity just came at the right time where I met the guy on the boat. She having that vision. All of a sudden, that vision. So everything that's tied together and carries, listen, it's, it's, you ever felt like something was just destined to be?
Yeah.
It surely feels like it was destined to be. So that is how it happened. So he came, he brought his staff, he brought his equipment, his vehicles, and they trained us. They stood by us for our first funeral. They walk us through, this is how you do, what you do. And a few times over, and we just caught it like...
With ease.
With ease. And within a few months, we were just blazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really interesting.
Yes,
so... That funeral home, I'm assuming you all still have pretty good ties with them because they are basically,
Yes, we in life and in any aspect of life, you cannot forget where you came from, yeah? So yes, we do. We chit-chat. We bounce off ideas. Sometimes he's in Trinidad, we are in Tobago. So sometimes we may need something done there. I mean, not physically there. So we could call in a favor.
And coordinate and those type of things. Yes. That is really cool. It's always good to have good relations in business.
Correct.
Because you can never tell where you will be and who you will need, right?
Exactly. Even if it's competing businesses, it's always good to have a few ties, where you could sort of have a helping hand when you run into difficulty.
Okay, so how did your friends react? Because I want to know how the people that are closest to you reacted to this jump from one career into another.
Well, strange enough, the persons closest to me, they were quite normal. Shockingly, now that you asked the question, I never thought of it. The real challenge came with persons who weren't close to us, like the community of Roxborough where Divine Studies Funeral Home is located. We had a lot of complaints in the earlies because persons just felt uncomfortable with having a funeral home open in the district. To them. But if you think about the funeral homes in Tobago Caris, all of them are mostly located within a district, within a village.
Community,
So yes, that's where the challenge came. But my friends, I guess they were very supportive. Some persons didn't really believe in the idea at first.
Yeah.
Because I guess we are accustomed to what we have or what we had. But shockingly, persons' feelings never change. I mean, I have some friends that say, I'm not coming in there. I want to lie with you, I want to see you, but I'm not coming in there. Or, girl, how you doing that? You good, yes? And them kind of comments.
So I have this question, right? And it's really burning me. Most people are afraid of death, right? Are you? Because how did you manage to just jump straight into this thing with such ease?
Especially not coming from a background where we probably had a funeral home or family funeral home. Yeah, it felt almost, as I mentioned, destined to be before. It felt almost as it was our calling. It was never anything to say, you're afraid, you're timid. We just jumped into it. And so a stranger, it's a family-run business. Every member of the family basically has their unique portfolio. Never trained for it before. They never worked in that field before. But everything just sort of just happened. My brother, he does the embalming, these kind of things. He never studied it. It was never a passion of any of us before. But it just happened. So it was easy. And when you do the first funeral and you realize how that family... you really help them in that time of grief. And then you do the second one and persons comment and say, listen, You all really were there for me at my lowest point. I guess that's the motivation. So now we're just looking to be better. Every funeral must be better than the last.
Perfect.
So, and then we are a bit younger as well. So it's fresh minds, fresh ideas, a lot of innovative ideas and different things that really craft us. So it's more of a personality than a business.
Okay.
I have my little personality I'll bring into it. My mom has a personality she would tie into it. And everybody just has their little piece.
Their little niche within the one
that
organization.
We just bring together. So it's sort of a effortless motion, to be honest.
Okay, very nice. So speaking of innovation, what are some of the more innovative things you would have brought to the funeral home business? Because I mean, most people assume that is the standard thing. You're born and then you die, and then we have to find some way of getting that body between death to burial. So what new did you bring into the sector that you think made Divine Solace stand out, especially seeing that you all are still so very new?
Yeah. I think one, physically, it's the look. The younger staff or the young persons running the funeral home, I think, really attracts persons. The different ideas that we have come up with throughout. So, for instance, our units are a bit different, meaning our caskets and coffins are a bit different. We are not only a funeral home, but we really provide support to families after the funeral.
Support by way of?
Grief counseling, food hampers, back to school book vouchers, monetary assistance, because, everybody's going through it.
Yeah.
So as much as, yes, it's a business and you're really glad to get that monetary, what to say? I can't find the word right now, but you're making money.
Yeah.
In term, you're making money, but it's not only about making the money. Yeah? Sometimes persons leave the funeral and, for a fact they're struggling.
Yeah.
They may not have grocery and they have young kids and they lost a mom or a dad. So we really reach out to them. We keep all our records of persons who may fit into any little charity event that we're doing, and we always really lend support to them. So that's our next thing, because you always have to give back. And as I mentioned before, from young growing up, my mom always taught me, Keifa, no matter how little, if you could help somebody, help them.
Yeah, that's so important.
Those study monies and everything's not about money. If you could help. So that's sort of embedded in me. So that's one way. And another aspect is we have a special match. So I don't know if you have ever seen our funerals or funeral directors, they have a special match, like a military match, different. I see the camera guys laughing. Yeah. We really have to be different in this field, So a different match, we uniformed.
Yeah.
That's something that
that's
you didn't
so
see
important,
before.
yeah.
So we always bring that professional standard when we are out in the public domain conducting a funeral, because you want to bring comfort to the hearts of the families in any aspect or any way possible. And believe it or not, just your dress code and that level of professionalism really plays a major part, So we try to be always uniformed. And a lot of different things. I can't let all the cats out the bag.
Yeah, you gotta keep some trade secrets in.
I gotta keep some things in. But one of the major things as well is cost. Yeah. Really, really cost effective. And we try to meet everyone's budget. So, as I mentioned, we really like the helping persons more than anything.
So you try to work with the families more or less, meet them where they're at.
Yes, exactly.
All right, that is so nice. Because most people, I mean, when they say it's business, we're looking at, finances. People not really looking to give away their money. They're trying to keep it and build on it. But
either you have it or you don't, and if you don't, well...
Yeah, to go without.
See you next time,
in debt, what do you mean by go without?
Exactly.
You really have to try to help in some way or the other or meet them where they're at. And that's really nice.
Correct.
But it's good that you brought that personality into it, because business cannot only be business. We have to think of people as people and treat them well.
Yes, because sometimes persons will call 3 o'clock in the morning, Mr. Beans, gosh, I can't sleep. I'm thinking about my husband or about my son, and they would, and I mean, people are people at the end of the day, and we are also persons. Yes, it's our business we're operating, but that empathetic side and that human side, you have to, it all comes with it. Remember, you are the person those persons are looking forward to at their lowest point. They see you as this knight and shining armor to some extent, really and truly, because the family, the friends, relatives, co-workers, persons would call and they would text and so on. But when they step into the funeral home, some of them just pour out.
Yeah.
So sometimes I try, not sometimes, but all the time I try to give them a listening ear and just try to be that shoulder. Yeah?
Yeah, that's really good. But speaking of family and friends, let's lean on the dynamic of friends. You mentioned that your friend afraid to come in the funeral home. And I just saying it just in our local dialect. But girl afraid, right?
Yes.
And I can imagine, because for most persons, traversing death is such a big deal. I remembered growing up, and you may have to pass by a cemetery and girl, you're running full speed. You want to stick around that, unless you went to like Scarborough. Was it RC that's right across from the funeral home, the cemetery? Unless you attended a primary school and used to play in the cemetery. Girl, for everybody else, we ain't had that type of
courage.
Nah. We don't have that, because to us it's like, long time we used to have those stories about zombie following your home when you come from funeral. You had to take off all your funeral clothes.
Boy. Eat, repass and food
all kind of something. And we in Tobago here always have these stories about things you have to do around funerals that always put so much pressure, stress and dismay around this something that in making you feel as though that this thing called death is so much more than it is. Yeah. You understand? From the time the person die, you're hearing about 9 nights. You're hearing about wake and jumpy and walk backward. Now, I'm a Christian and I don't entertain no jumpy, no walk backward, no nothing like that. But I'm just saying, growing up in my community, it had those taboos, so I could imagine your friend saying, my God.
Even today, I went to purchase something in the Scarborough area, and the server read my shirt and she was like, how you could do this? And I said, strange enough, I remember passing by this funeral home almost every day when I was younger, and it's like, you see children running in the yard, and it's like, and they had children in there, and the people, you couldn't believe that persons are in that place operating so normal. But you see, when you're in it, you realize that the dead has no power, right? Only the living, and we don't perform any special rituals or anything like that. I sleep comfortably each and every night. I just pray to AC, uncle. Yes. I just pray to God, and that's all I do. I do not rub or bathe with any special oils or incense. I do not light anything at my home. I do not say any special anything. Yeah, and that just goes to show that I'm in the mind. But we're very much more developed than we were back then in our careers. That taboo, and that is what I love about divine. I think like that's probably number 3 on my list of what we would have accomplished so far. And this is not just me saying that. Persons or families who would have had the honor of pleasing with our service has said that we have taken away the scariness.
Yeah, the fear attached to it.
Funeral, yes, we would have. Just by the way their loved one looks, that is one of the major things. Because if you walk into a funeral and the person looks scary, you may have nightmares. Every time you close your eyes, you may see that horrifying image.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, but then if the person is presented well, and even today somebody says, no funeral, you all doing is weddings. You all preparing persons for weddings. So when you hear those kind of comments, it's like, yes.
Changing the dynamics.
Yeah.
But, to think of it, you remember things through your senses. And I remember as a child growing up, you go into a funeral and you're smelling the embalming fluids. And funerals used to have such a distinctive scent. As I passed that coffin, I said, you understand? And then some people come to spray down the dead to take away that formaldehyde scent. Now that we know the chemicals behind the process, those things trigger some memories.
Yes, of course.
So knowing that the bodies are being presented almost like if they're alive, you know,
like they're sleeping.
Like they're sleeping. I think even that takes away some of the trauma and lessens the grief.
Yes, because a reporter reached out to me after a funeral that we'd have done. I think it was in March or so on. Rest in peace, Leandro. And she said, listen, I came from Trinidad with my flats ready to fall down in the hole and roll all over the graveyard. I said, really? She was like, yes. She said, but when I saw my friend, up to this day, I have not cried. She said, you took away that from me. So now I'm feeling guilty. She said, you all took away that ability to grieve from me because he looked so well. I could not cry, and I cannot cry up to this day. She said, so I need to do a story because I've been to hundreds of funerals throughout Trinidad and Tobago as a reporter, but never one where the person looks like they're sleeping. He
really did, eh? Yes. Leandro really looked like he was sleeping. Yeah. And I was at the funeral, and I must say that the funeral was done with such class. In like thinking back to the event, you know, and at the time, everyone in the media community was grieving in such a big way. I wasn't even well on the day of the funeral, and you know, just remembering how the proceedings went so smoothly, from the online presence to in Shore Park, you know, everything went off without a hitch, and then seeing him, he really looked as if he was asleep really and at peace. You know?
Really, really well.
So, hats off to you all.
Thank you. Thank you. And one other thing that you don't really see at our funerals is the excessive. I mean, nothing is wrong with really expressing yourself and crying. I believe if you need to cry, cry. If you need to bawl. But strange enough, at most of our funerals, you don't get that. Yeah? When persons come, they're just at peace. They're so pleased and satisfied. They reach out to us, they call us. I have so much friends. Listen, I've made so many friends just being in this industry because persons feel so attached to me. Afterwards, they call. If they hear someone die, they call Mr. Vignes. This person passed away. I want to give them a contact. Mr. Vignes, call this person. They had a death in the family. So most of our business comes from referrals.
That's excellent. Yeah. And you know what that says? It says that what you're actually doing is impactful because people don't give a bad reference. Right. You know? So that's really excellent. But you're meeting all of these people, you're doing all these funerals. I'm very sure that the demand has gone up from day one to now. How are you balancing? How are you doing this work-life balance? Knowing that you're a mom of two very amazing, very energetic young boys. How do you balance that with managing the funeral home? And I know you because you're my friend and it's rugby and all kind of exercising that I ain't participating in right now. But I seen you up, down. So how are you doing all of this? Like, what is the game plan? How you manage all of this?
I barely manage it, to be honest. Some days I really, really struggle, not physically but mentally, because then sometimes you're dealing with 10 plus families at one point, 10 plus families calling. You have your personal life. You are the president of the Tobago Rugby Football Club, and I also coach. So then I have to deal with that aspect of things. And then, oh my gosh, my two kids, one being in preschool. So then you have to navigate the pickup every day. Sometimes I'm in office, I have a family in front of me. The pickup time is approaching. I have to try to scamper to see who I can find that could do a pickup for me like today. I reached the point of having to call the teacher and say, Miss, she's from the village as well. Miss, you could do me a favor, please, you could carry him up home for me, please. I sort of, under a little pressure. So it's really challenging, eh? It's really challenging to the point where sometimes, you just want to go home and sleep for like 3-4 days. And then I trying to get back in fit. So I go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, coach rugby Tuesday and Thursday. So the weekends is the only time that I have. So what I decided to do...
I was now about to ask you if your day has 28 hours instead. Like, if you're showing off, and we just let we know now, because I want to know how you're doing all of this in 24 hours.
It's tough. I had to shelve something. So before I had a gift box business, I had to shelve it for a little bit because I really cannot keep up with it. The national team, the women's national team, I'm unable to really put my energies and effort into it right now. As much as I would like to return to the national team, I'm really unable to do so at this point, because sometimes it requires us to travel to Trinidad during the week and so on, and it's difficult to leave the business, because just one day of leaving the business could mean that funerals plans could be pushed back significantly and that kind of thing. So to be honest, I'm barely managing it. But the grace of God, I just keep going. You know, what really motivates me is that Keifa, the business would be on autopilot one day. One day I'll be able to hire the staff that has the same passion as myself.
And the capability of doing it well.
So that you could feel easy and comforted that I'm not at the office today, but I know everything is managed to my standard. Yeah, but I am trying.
So what's the game plan? Because, you know, you have to work on this work-life balance thing, because you can't run yourself ragged to meet the task of the day. You have to try to figure it out. So have you given that any thought as to how you're going to do some simplifying, or give yourself some more time for enjoying life? Because
I've already started to put some stuff on the back burner. I was previously the vice president of the Trinidad and Tobago School Rugby Union, as well as being the president of the Tobago Rugby Football Club. So 2 hats wearing. And I decided that for 2026, I'll have to clean up my slate a little bit. So for all the rugby persons looking on, I guess this is sort of me saying that I'm not sure if I'll be able to return to the executive body of the because I have to think about myself at the end of the day as well, right? And I have kids, and they can't suffer because I come home too tired. I cannot embrace them the way I am supposed to as a mother. I can't teach them we color together, that kind of thing. So really that's missing, and I don't want to miss out on that kind of thing in my kids' life, right?
Because kids grow up so fast, right? And
exactly.
you don't want, if you blink, it gone.
Correct. So weekends, I do not go out or come out of the house on a weekend unless it's absolutely necessary. So anything that persons want me to go, no, don't invite me to anything. No. I go only where I want to go on a weekend.
Okay.
Right? So if it's something that's not really concerning me, I would not be attending.
But Keifa, you know, this is a big change for you.
Listen.
Because I'm thinking back to pre-COVID, and knowing you're outside.
Outside.
Every day.
Every day. Every day if you give me a chance. But listen, I'm getting older too, eh? If I don't go out during the week at all, period. Not even on a Friday night. Because by 10 o'clock, I'm sleeping on myself. It doesn't make sense. So I only really venture out on a Friday, and then on a Saturday, and then Sunday I have work on a Monday. So I kind of leave Sunday free as well. So Saturday is my only little window of the, you know, enjoying going to an event or so on. But I'm getting older too, Carrie, so I can't keep up with the young people thing of being here, there, and everywhere. And the business, as much as you're sitting behind a desk and you're speaking to families and you're on a laptop, it takes from you mentally. It drains you. So at the end of each day, I don't really have the energy to do much than what I think that is necessary for me, which is exercising, dealing with the kids, coaching rugby, but nothing really outside of that for now.
Yeah, but you know what that says? It says that you're maturing.
Yeah, of course,
You know, some people will say, oh, you know, you're an auntie now. And when you tell them, hey, I have businesses to run, or a business to run, I have commitments outside of that, or I want to go to the gym, and you know, these things are, you know, I'm trying to prioritize them because they're central to who I am, and I need to do certain things to me. Some people don't understand that. And some people find it hard to navigate, but wait, you just change. You're running a business, all of a sudden you can't come no way. And it starts to feel as though there's some dissonance and some distancing between you and your social groups.
Oh, gosh.
You know?
Yes.
So I'm very certain that you've experienced some of that in some way, shape, or form. As, you know?
But you know what they say, the road to the top is a bit lonely, right? There's a lot more persons may have been there. But to some extent, I'm the person that pulls my friends out of their homes. I think that I am the person who...
The coordinator?
I don't know when to pack up and go home. Yeah? So it hasn't really changed that much because my friends don't really go out as much or do as much.
So they too are growing.
So, yeah. And, you know, we have responsibilities and stuff now. I would be the person to say, let's go to this. Let's go to this event. This event is coming up. So So it hasn't really changed that much in terms of that aspect. But I mean, the time that we spend, I guess, what I say, all talking when the day come, that would have significantly cut down, or the time just probably popping up at each other's homes and randomly liming, as we say, that would have cut down. But I must say, my friends are still very close. For instance, Carrie, sometimes we ain't talk for a month.
That's sure.
And nothing changes.
Yeah, we just be like, okay, this is the status update.
Yeah.
Important. And come down.
I give you the entire 6 months that you missed.
Yeah.
And we're back to the busy lives again.
Exactly.
So yeah, it has
because there's no love lost. You know,
course.
We understand and we're on the same page.
And we all have a plan, eh?
We all have a plan.
We must win.
We have some businesses to run. We got this thing on wrap, so we had to get it done.
Yeah, have to get it done. So I haven't really felt it to that extent. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes, you know, some person's true colors could also come out in the process. You could see a person's really feel about you. And I don't want to touch too much on that, but I've had some instances where the persons who you thought were really for you, when at this point where they're supposed to really be clapping and rejoicing and saying, Keifa, I know you're doing so well, you could barely get a compliment from some of those persons. So you hear stuff that they say to other persons. And it's like, you weren't saying those stuff before. So as I have a business, a successful business, I expect you to be cheering me on, but instead you're trying to pull me down.
Yeah, but you know, all of that comes in the experience of life growth and business.
Course.
I don't think that you will always get positivity from all people at all times. And I think with the changes, sometimes it's difficult as well for some people to accept that at this time in your life, this person might be accelerating and you might just be leveling out. But how I see it is that in the dash that we call life, I might be accelerating now and I may slow down a little way in the future, or I may have a different path to take. You may take off at a different time. So comparison truly is the thief of joy.
Yeah, it is. So what I do, because I don't want to feel like, you know, within the friend group, I am doing so well and others may not, so I really encourage them. Anything that I know they have a passion for, your birthday coming up, and not buying nonsense as birthday gifts. You have a passion for this, I'm buying this. But in the next 6 months, I want to see you start this business.
Exactly.
I tell them that. Oh, you want to start this? All right, next year I'll come in again and ask you what's going on. That's how I speak to my friends, because I want to see all of us at this level where we're self-sufficient and we really make an impact in the community.
And you know what? The economy is challenging, so you really have to give it all you got.
Yes, and you have to be there to be different and expect the unexpected.
That's so true. So, going forward and looking ahead, I know every time I talk with you, Keifa, there's always something up and coming or some passion project that you have in mind. Is there anything that you'll be willing to share that you think that the future may see you jumping into?
So in the funeral home or just
in general, because we're talking life here, you know.
Hopefully happily married.
Hey, here now, I have a dresser. I just letting you know. As a matter of fact, I have dresses, and I've been waiting on one of you all to come and talk that time, because I find all your real matter of fact when me and talk, because somebody must be watching this podcast saying, well, Carrie, this is what's going on with you. But as to you, I would be coming to the wedding and I have a dress.
Of course.
And I'm coming to dance, you understand? So put me in the front row, please.
Of course.
You understand? On the left side of the stage next to the fan, because your girl is thick and needs some air. Yeah? I will be there, right? But I do wish you the best in love. Give me your very luck. I weak, yes? But I do wish you the best in your love life, because I mean that is important, eh?
Yeah, it really makes a difference navigating such a busy schedule. That really makes a difference if you have a supportive and loving partner to really be that backbone, or that person to just lean on at the end of a challenging day. So
Yeah.
I mean, God is still here. He's able and He's present and He's watching over me. He's hearing me, so I know He'll answer my prayers very soon.
Exactly.
So I'm not worried, right?
Exactly. Amen. We calling that into existence.
Yes.
And Jesus, I have addressed to it. Right? So
But for divine solace on the terms of the business, I want to make the business something that we probably have never seen before. I would like if we expand into the Caribbean. That's one of my passions for the business. And next thing is providing what to say, more or less a group of companies, one surrounding pre-planning. So to have a pre-planning, or as persons say, like a funeral insurance. Yeah, that's something that I think is very interesting. So persons who sign up for this plan and they pay this small amount every month, if that or when that occurs, not if it's a
whenever
when.
it happens.
When that occurs, you just come to the funeral home now
And it take
and you
care.
redeem it. So like a group of companies. So one dealing with funeral insurance and planning and pre-planning, the funeral home, of course. I'm also thinking along the lines of casket company. So we build our caskets and we export caskets to Trinidad and outside the Caribbean and the international and that kind of thing. So I'm just thinking of Divine Size being Divine Size group of companies.
Yeah. And that's a really good way of thinking of things, because why trap yourself in a box when you could branch out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love the way that you think. So, guys, we've been chatting with the lovely Keifa Vignes, and you see that she's more than we initially thought, right? There's so much more in the kitty right here.
Yes.
Right? So, it was so lovely having you on the podcast.
Thank
I will
you.
see you again very soon,
course.
so we'll meet up and chit chat.
Of course,
But
long
you
overdue.
guys online, this is the end of the podcast. As I usually say, stay tenaciously resolute in all that you do, and we will see you all next week. Remember, we're here every Friday. Yeah, we're back. See you all soon, and take care. Good night.